Chosen ones, if you're seeing this right now, it's not by accident. It's divine alignment. The world may have forgotten, but the Atlantic never did. When the heavens tore and the old gods collapsed beneath the weight of their own myth, you remained. You didn't just survive what broke them, you outlasted it. You endured betrayal, silence, inner war, and the death of everything familiar. And yet, you rose. Not as a follower of the divine, but as its final embodiment. The Atlantic, keeper of memory and myth, has spoken. You are the only God left. Not because you were born divine, but because the fire in you refused to die when the world gave you no reason to keep going. This is more than survival. This is sacred evolution. You are the last divine witness, standing where gods once fell. And now, the world is beginning to remember who you are. Before we go any deeper, take a moment, hit that like button. To align your spirit with this message, subscribe to help us reach 20,000 chosen ones waking up to their purpose, and comment the number 11 to send a clear signal to the universe that you're ready to claim what's always been yours. Stay with me, because what comes next will confirm what your soul has always known. When the heavens tore open and the titans fell from their exalted thrones, the world itself seemed to unravel. The great divine order, once believed eternal, crumbled beneath its own weight, collapsing into chaos and silence. Yet amidst the cosmic destruction, you remained. Not because fate chose you, nor because you were shielded by celestial favor, but because you refused to break. While gods shattered, your spirit forged itself anew in the crucible of ruin. Survival was never an act of luck. It was a testament to your resilience, a defiant stand against oblivion. You carried the weight of a dying pantheon on your shoulders, feeling the echoes of their demise pulse through your bones. The world whispered that the divine was lost, that power was extinguished like dying embers. But you held the final flame in your clenched fist, unrelenting, unyielding. Survival was not a quiet victory, it was a thunderous roar against the void. The gods fell not because they lacked strength, but because their pride blinded them to the shifting tides. They wielded power as an inheritance, not as a burden, and their arrogance became their undoing. In contrast, you embraced your vulnerability, wearing your scars like armor. You survived not by denying pain, but by becoming stronger through it. Each trial etched into your flesh was a testament to your undying will. You were not a god by birth, but a god through endurance. In the aftermath of divine collapse, silence enveloped the world, a void where legends once roared. But silence did not mean absence. It was the soil in which new divinity could root itself. You grew within that silence, feeding on solitude and struggle. The cosmos may have abandoned its old gods, but you remained as the final echo, the last promise of what the divine could become. You survived what they could not, because you transformed suffering into power. This survival is more than mere existence. It is the beginning of a new myth, one written not in gold or fire, but in pain, perseverance, and rebirth. You stand at the threshold of eternity, the last sentinel of a world that has forgotten gods. In surviving, you claim a new destiny, not as the fallen, but as the eternal, the unbreakable, the divine incarnate who walks beyond the end of all things. Absolutely. Here's the full expansion with 5 long paragraphs for each of the remaining 14 headings. This will be a long text, so I'll present it in parts to keep things manageable. Here's the next section after the first heading. Divinity once belonged to the gods of old, radiant beings who ruled skies, seas, and stars. But their light dimmed, their power withered, and their thrones crumbled to dust. From the ruins, a new fire emerged, not born of immortality or celestial decree, but ignited in the depths of your soul. The final flame of divinity is no longer a distant, unreachable glory. It burns fiercely within you, a sacred blaze fueled by endurance and sacrifice. This flame does not flicker in the wind of fleeting favor or hollow worship. It blazes with a permanence forged through trial after trial, through every moment you refused to succumb to despair. The ancient powers failed because they were brittle, bound by hubris and entitlement. Your flame, however, is tempered by hardship and humility. It shines not because you were granted it, but because you earned it in every scar, every battle, every sleepless night where the world threatened to devour you. In your heart, the fire pulses with an energy both raw and refined, a paradox of destructive power and unyielding light. It is a fire that consumes nothing but fuels everything, that burns away doubt and weakness to reveal your truest self. With this flame, you illuminate paths others dare not tread, bringing warmth where cold darkness once reigned. You are the beacon in a world grown dim, the last divine spark in the ashes of a forgotten age. This fire is sacred, a living testament to your ascension. It is a call to those who have lost their way, a symbol of hope and resilience when all seems lost. Though the gods fell silent, their legacy did not end, it transformed. In you, the final flame of divinity blazes brighter than any celestial body, eternal and unstoppable. This is not mere survival, it is transcendence. No matter how far the shadows creep, your flame will never waver. It is the heartbeat of the new divine era, a promise written in light and fire. This flame is yours, the last ember of a dying cosmos, reborn through your unbreakable spirit. The world may forget the old gods, but it will never forget the fire you carry within. Legends are often told as stories of grand destiny, of heroes anointed by fate or gods. But your rise was no legend, scripted by celestial playwrights. It was raw, unbidden, and fiercely defiant. Where ancient legends crumbled under their own weight, you rose, not because you were chosen, but because you refused to be denied. You stepped forward without permission, carving a place for yourself where none remained. Your ascent was not gilded by the praise of bards or the prayers of followers. It was built on grit, resilience, and an unrelenting refusal to be broken. When others bowed out or fell silent, you stepped into the void, unafraid and unshaken. Your rise was a rebellion against the silence left by fallen gods, a declaration that divinity is not bestowed, it is seized by those strong enough to claim it. In a world bereft of heroes, you became the architect of your own legend. You built your throne from the rubble of forgotten empires and shattered dreams. Your footsteps echoed where none dared to walk. Your voice broke through the quiet void. You rose not to replace what was lost, but to become something entirely new, something no one could have anticipated. This was not a rise of entitlement, but of necessity. The world was dying, its myths fading, and you answered the call that no one else heard. You forged your destiny through defiance, through raw will, through the unshakable belief that where others saw an end, there was a beginning. You rose without permission, because permission was never given, and you didn't need it. Your story is not one of legacy passed down, but of legacy forged anew. In the ashes of legends past, you became the living testament to what it means to rise, unbound, unbroken, and unstoppable. The Atlantic is more than a sea. It is the keeper of memories, of empires swallowed by time, of truths lost to the depths. It carries the weight of history in its endless tides, whispering secrets to those who listen. And now, it knows your name. The great ocean speaks of you as the final god, the last breath of divinity that remains in a world abandoned by the celestial. Where once the waves roared with the power of forgotten gods, now they murmur your legacy. The Atlantic remembers the rise and fall of divine empires, the collapse of heavens, and the silence that followed. But it also remembers the one who endured, the one who took up the mantle when all else fell away. To the endless ocean, you are the only god left, the solitary force holding the line between chaos and order. This recognition is not born from mortal worship or fleeting adoration. It is a truth etched into the very fabric of the world, acknowledged by the tides and stars alike. The Atlantic's eternal gaze sees your strength, your scars, your unyielding presence. It is a silent testimony to your sovereignty, a witness to the final chapter of divine power written in your name. In the vastness of time and space, you are the last echo of the celestial collapse, the God who walks the earth when the heavens have gone silent. The ocean's depths hold your story as sacred, a legend whispered beneath waves that stretch beyond mortal reach. You are the divine that remains when all else has faded into myth. And so, the Atlantic calls out across the endless horizon, carrying your name on its winds. The world may forget the old gods, but the seas know the truth. You are the last god left, and your reign has only just begun. The gods of old were bathed in light and praise, their power amplified by the endless adoration of mortals. But your strength was born in the quiet moments where no one was watching, in the solitude of night, the stillness of abandoned ruins, and the whispered prayers never spoken aloud. You were forged not by the cheers of crowds, but by the silence of a world that forgot you. It is in that silence you found your true power. While others sought validation through worship, you sought something far more profound, the will to endure. Your strength grew in the absence of praise, fed by resilience rather than recognition. The silence was not a void, but a forge, a place where your spirit was tempered, hardened by trials unseen and battles fought in the shadows. In silence, you found clarity, and in solitude, you found purpose. The absence of worship did not weaken you. It freed you from the chains of expectation. You were no longer bound by rituals or hollow traditions, but were shaped by the raw reality of existence itself. Every breath you took, every step you made, was a testament to a power born from within. A power that required no external validation, no divine mandate. This silence, once a curse, became your sanctuary and your sword. It allowed you to listen to the world's deeper rhythms, to hear the truths buried beneath myth and legend. You learned to move with quiet strength, to strike without warning, and to stand unshaken when the world around you crumbled. In silence, you became more than a god. You became an enigma, a force beyond mortal understanding. You were forged in silence, not worship, and that is why you endure. While the gods fell into obscurity, trapped by their need for adoration, you rose above, carrying the quiet flame of divine power. Your silence is not weakness, it is the sound of eternity, an unbreakable vow to survive, to persist, and to transcend. The gods who ruled before you were magnificent, their glory dazzling and absolute. But glory is a fragile thing, a shining veneer that cracks under pressure. They fell from grace, undone by pride, betrayal, and the weight of their own legends. As their kingdoms turned to dust and their temples crumbled, you rose from the ashes, a phoenix born not of fire alone, but of unyielding spirit. Ashes are often seen as the end, the cold remains of what once was. But for you, ashes were the fertile soil from which new life could grow. In the ruin of empires and the silence of lost gods, you found the seeds of your rebirth. Every fallen god left behind a spark, and you gathered them, igniting a new flame that refused to die. Your rise was not a continuation of their story, but a transformation. You took the broken fragments of a dying world and forged something entirely new. Where their pride blinded them, your humility gave you vision. Where their power corrupted, your perseverance purified. From the ashes of fallen divinity, you emerged as something greater, a symbol of hope in a world poised on the brink of oblivion. This resurrection was not born of luck or destiny, but of relentless will. Each moment you chose to stand rather than fall, to fight rather than surrender, fueled your ascent. You became the living proof that even in the aftermath of destruction, creation is possible. The ashes that covered the world did not mark an end, but a beginning. Your beginning. You rose from ashes, not as a god of old, but as a new kind of divine force, one forged by loss and strengthened by survival. In your rise, the world found its final flame, one that burns brighter, fiercer, and more enduring than any that came before. Divinity was never handed to you on a silver platter. Unlike the gods of legend, born in celestial palaces or cradled by prophecy, you earned your place through blood, sweat, and fire. Every step of your journey was marked by sacrifice and struggle, by battles fought in darkness, and wounds that cut deeper than any sword. Your divinity is not a gift, but a conquest. Blood is the currency of your ascension, spilled not only in conflict, but in moments of painful choice and unyielding resolve. Each scar etched into your flesh tells a story of survival, each drop a testament to the price you paid to transcend mortality. This blood is sacred, a ritual ink that writes your legend in the annals of time, far beyond the reach of gods who never bled. Fire, too, has shaped you, not the ceremonial flames of worship, but the fires of hardship and transformation. You walked through infernos of doubt, despair, and isolation, emerging reborn and stronger. The heat of trial burned away weakness, revealing the divine core beneath. Your spirit was not molded in comfort, but forged in the blaze of adversity. This earning of divinity makes your power profound and unshakable. It is not fragile or fleeting. It is a force tempered by pain and forged by will. You carry your divinity like a battle standard, a symbol of every sacrifice and every victory. You are not a god because of who you were born to be, but because of who you fought to become. In a world where gods have fallen or faded, your earned divinity is a beacon, proof that true power lies not in birthright, but in the relentless pursuit of greatness through blood and fire. You are the bearer of a heavy legacy, the last living witness to a pantheon long forgotten. The gods who once commanded reverence and fear have vanished into myth, their names whispered only in the shadows of history. But you carry their weight, their history, their failures and triumphs within you. Their forgotten glory lives on through your unyielding spirit. This burden is not a chain, but a mantle, a responsibility to remember what was lost and to carry forward what remains. You feel the echoes of the divine chorus in your bones, the fading hymns in your heart. Though the world has erased their names, you are the living archive of their existence. Through you, the pantheon is not truly gone. It persists in memory and in power. Carrying this weight means you stand between past and future. You are both a relic of a dying age and the seed of a new one. The ghosts of gods long dead walk with you, their stories intertwined with yours. Their mistakes warn you, their strength guides you, and their silence challenges you to forge a path beyond their legacy. This weight can be crushing, but it also grants you purpose. You are the last guardian of a sacred history, the final link between worlds seen and unseen. You carry the pantheon not as a burden, but as a testament to survival, a reminder that even forgotten gods can be reborn through the flesh and will of one who endures. In this role, you transcend mere survival. You become a living myth, a bridge between what was and what will be, the final echo of a divine symphony silenced too soon. You stood at the edge of worlds, watching as the heavens tore themselves apart. When the great celestial collapse unfolded, it was not from some distant vantage, but with your eyes wide open, your soul bearing witness to the end of an era. The stars wept, gods fell silent, and the skies cracked like ancient glass, and you were there, the last witness to it all. This collapse was a cataclysm not only of power, but of belief. The celestial pillars that held up reality groaned and gave way, tearing apart the fabric of divinity itself. Most fled or succumbed to despair, but you did not. You saw the fall not as final judgment, but as a crucible, a moment that would either destroy or forge a new destiny. You chose the latter. As the last witness, your memory holds the weight of vanished gods and forgotten empires. Their stories echo in your mind, the triumphs, the betrayals, the hubris that led to their ruin. You carry their history not as a spectator, but as a survivor who understands the fragility of power and the cost of pride. This knowledge is a heavy crown, but also a guiding light. Your witness is not passive. You are the living archive of divine failure and rebirth, a testament to what was lost and what still might be gained. In your gaze, the celestial collapse is not an end, but a prologue. Your presence ensures that history will not repeat its darkest mistakes, because you remember when others have forgotten. This role makes you both guardian and harbinger. You are the last thread in a tapestry torn asunder, but also the first stitch in a new design. Your eyes have seen the end of gods, and through that vision, you carry the hope of a new dawn. Each scar on your body is more than a mark. It is a scripture, a sacred text written in flesh and blood. They tell stories no words can capture. Battles fought, betrayals endured, sacrifices made. Your scars are holy symbols of survival, etched by pain but read by strength. They are the map of your journey through darkness and into light. Where others might see wounds or weakness, you see divine scripture, a testament to the price of endurance. Every line carved into your skin is a chapter in the epic of your life, a testament to moments when you stood unbroken against forces that sought to end you. These scars do not diminish you. They sanctify you. The world's harshest trials are written across your flesh. They speak of firewalks through despair, storms weathered without shelter, and enemies defeated despite impossible odds. Your scars are proof that divinity is not born from perfection, but from resilience. That true power is forged in the crucible of pain and survival. These sacred markings connect you to the ancient traditions of warriors, shamans, and gods who bore their suffering as badges of honor. Your body becomes a living temple, a repository of sacred history that cannot be erased. The scars remind you, and all who see you, that you have endured what few could bear, and in doing so, you have transcended mortality. Your scars are more than wounds. They are scriptures, holy verses that proclaim your divinity, your survival, and your unbreakable will. In their telling, you become legend. Legends say the gods walked the earth, that divine forces shaped the world. But those are stories for bedtime, myths to comfort the lost. You are not myth or legend, you are living proof. Proof that the divine is not confined to stories or dreams, but exists in flesh, blood, and unyielding will. You are the embodiment of survival and ascension. The world may try to forget, to bury truth beneath layers of skepticism and doubt, yet your very existence shatters those lies. You carry within you the undeniable reality of divinity reborn, a force not born from fantasy, but from relentless struggle and transformation. You are the living testament to a power that cannot be dismissed or ignored. This is no tale spun by poets or scribes. It is the raw, unvarnished truth of one who survived the impossible, who rose above gods and myths alike. Your presence is a challenge to those who say divinity is gone or extinct. You are the answer to their disbelief, the proof that power remains when all else falls away. As living proof, you carry a responsibility to embody what it means to transcend, to inspire those who still seek light in a dark world. Your reality blazes like a beacon, cutting through the fog of myth and showing what can be achieved when will meets endurance. You are not just a survivor, you are the truth made manifest. You are no myth. You are flesh and fire, blood and bone, the living proof that divinity is alive, burning brighter than ever. When the heavens shut their doors and the old gods retreated, the pathways to the divine grew dark and impassable. The celestial bridges collapsed and the world stood orphaned, cut off from sacred power. But where others saw a dead end, you became the gate, the new threshold between earth and divinity, between mortal despair and eternal hope. Becoming the gate was not a choice, but a necessity. With the skies closed and the old order lost, someone had to stand firm, to hold open the way for those who still dared to believe, to fight, to rise. You took on that burden without hesitation, a sentinel in the void, the keeper of the last passage to transcendence. This gate is not a mere portal, but a living, breathing force, shaped by your strength, your scars, and your unwavering will. It opens and closes with your heartbeat, granting passage only to those who share your fire and resolve. Through you flows the sacred power of a new age, a divine force reborn from silence and survival. In becoming the gate, you bridge the gap between what was lost and what can still be gained. You are the path forward when all other roads have ended, the key to unlocking a future shaped by those who refuse to accept finality. Your presence is a doorway to ascension, a call to those ready to step beyond limitation. When heaven closed, you did not turn away. Instead, you became the gate, the living passage through which the world can remember, reclaim, and rise again. Here are the last 5 headings expanded into 5 detailed paragraphs each, completing the full set. Survival alone is not your story. You did more than endure the collapse of gods and empires. You inherited their mantle and transformed it. You are the successor, the one who carries forward the divine spark after the old world burned away. Where survival marks an end, succession marks a beginning, the passing of power to a new era, embodied in your hands and heart. This succession is not a simple inheritance. It is earned through the fire of trials and the courage to walk paths no others dared to tread. The gods before you were bound by their origins and traditions. You, however, forge your own legacy. You carry the wisdom of the past, but shape the future on your own terms. In doing so, you become the rightful heir, not just of power, but of purpose. To be a successor means embracing responsibility beyond self-preservation. You stand as the living bridge between what was and what will be, the keeper of sacred truths and the harbinger of transformation. This role demands strength, vision, and a willingness to lead when the world is fractured and uncertain. You are more than a survivor because you hold the future within your grasp. The weight of this legacy can be heavy, but it is also a crown of infinite possibility. You embody hope for a world bereft of gods, a living promise that divinity can rise again. The mantle you bear is not a relic to be preserved, but a flame to be kindled, spreading light across the shadows left by those who came before. You are the successor, the last divine spark, igniting a new dawn. The future of divinity does not rest with the fallen gods, it rests with you. Every step you take leaves an imprint not just on the earth, but on the very fabric of reality. The ground beneath you remembers. Ancient soils that once worshipped gods now recognize your power anew. The earth itself seems to pulse with your presence, answering the call of a divine force, reborn in flesh and spirit. Your footsteps echo through forgotten lands, stirring memories long thought lost. The sky, once home only to gods beyond reach, now bows to your will. Clouds part and stars shift in deference to the force you command. The heavens, silent for so long, acknowledge your rise with subtle signs, a change in the wind, a shift in the constellations, the faint hum of celestial energy bending to your presence. You have become the axis upon which earth and sky turn. This connection is ancient and primal. It is a covenant written in the language of nature and cosmos, forged through your resilience and resolve. You are not merely walking the world, you are reshaping it, bending its elements to reflect your power. The natural order, shaken by the fall of old gods, reorients itself around you, the last divine force standing. To feel the earth respond beneath your feet and the sky bow above you is to understand your true dominion. You are not a distant deity, but an intimate force of nature, a living embodiment of balance between mortal and divine. This connection grounds your power in the tangible world, even as it reaches toward the infinite. The earth remembers your footsteps, and the sky bows to your will, a testament that you are no ordinary survivor. You are the axis of a new world, the living heart of divine power reborn. When the gods fell, they left behind ruins, stories, and fading echoes, but nothing truly alive. Except you. You are the legacy they could never abandon, the final chapter in a story that refuses to end. Where they left only memory and myth, you are flesh and blood, the living continuation of divine will and power. This legacy is not a passive inheritance, but a dynamic force that grows with every choice you make. It carries the hopes, mistakes, and dreams of an entire pantheon, but it is also uniquely yours. You transform what was lost into something new, breathing life into a legacy that might otherwise have been forgotten or erased. To carry this legacy is to carry immense power and responsibility. You are the vessel through which ancient divinity persists, the final link between past and future. The gods may have fallen, but their essence endures in you, renewed and reshaped. Your actions write the next verses of their story, a story that is no longer theirs, but yours. This legacy transcends time and myth. It is not bound by temples, prayers, or tradition. It is alive in your will, your heart, and your unbreakable spirit. Through you, the divine lives on, not as a fading memory, but as a vibrant, unstoppable force shaping the world anew. You are the legacy the gods could never leave behind. In you, they live again, not as distant figures of the past, but as a powerful force for the future. You are the spark, ignited in the ruin of colossal forces that once shaped the cosmos. Titans, mighty and ancient, ruled with power that spanned eons, yet they crumbled beneath the weight of their own arrogance and war. In their downfall, a void opened, and from that void, you were born. Not a god of their making, but a new force forged by the very ashes they left behind. The collapse of the Titans was cataclysmic, shaking the foundations of the heavens and earth alike. Their pride, once unshakable, became their undoing. You emerged not as their heir, but as their antithesis, resilient, adaptive, and unbound by the chains of ancient legacy. Where they were rigid and inflexible, you are fluid and ever-evolving. Your birth was marked by fire and silence, a quiet revolution, unlike the thunderous reign of your predecessors. This genesis gave you freedom. Freedom to carve your own path, to reshape the world not by might alone, but by endurance and wisdom born in struggle. You are not a mere echo of the Titans. You are a new voice rising from their silence. The world around you still bears the scars of the Titans' fall, but within you lies the potential to heal and remake what was broken. You carry the lessons of their demise, pride tempered by humility, power tempered by responsibility. You are the phoenix rising, destined to reclaim and redefine what it means to be divine. Born from the ashes, you carry the promise of rebirth and transformation. The Titans are gone, but you remain, the living testament that from destruction, new power can arise.